Monica Johnson, editor for multiculturalcookingnetwork.net, and today we're talking to
Suzanne Carula from cornseedstories.com.
And we wanted to talk to her because right now we're at Podcast 23 in Denver, Colorado, and she has a new podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about your new podcast, and what is the name of it again?
Monica, it's cornseedstories.com or just Corn Seed Stories at podcast, any podcast channel that you want to go to.
Wow.
Corn Seed Stories is a podcast about sharing the memories and stories behind the recipe.
Oh.
Yeah, so when I was growing up as a little girl, we had family gatherings, and my mom had this small farm, and we used to go up every Sunday, and every time we would share these stories and have relatives, go around, pass around storytelling, we would actually learn more about each other.
Wow.
And we would have all these funny stories, and along with that we would have recipes, and very informal, but we would have like different types of desserts, ice cream, you name it, cakes. And that was something that I wanted to capture, and that's how I formed Corn Seed Stories.
I love that because right now what we're doing is we're in a point in our culture where we really need to engage with each other a little bit more. At least that's kind of what I think. I think we need to engage more and talk to each other more. And so this is a real vehicle to be able to have someone say, hey, what are some of my family recipes, and what are some of the stories that we can tell around the table and things like that. What do you think about the value of storytelling?
That's something that you might say out of the plague years that we had, that was the good part, is that it brought people together. How I formed Corn Seed Stories, I wanted to capture those special memories with families. Unfortunately, it took a crisis for people to kind of get together and have family time.
Yeah.
And I wanted to generate a podcast to actually have storytelling, those memories that would be lifelong, from kids to older adults, parents and sister and siblings, or just cousins and aunts and uncles.
So I saw the coconut cake, I believe. So tell me, what is the story behind that?
The story behind coconut cake resembles the exact same premise of Corn Seed Stories. Every time we would have a Thanksgiving meal or Christmas meal, the coconut cake symbolized the gathering of all the relatives, and it brought a special meaning to the cousins, aunts and uncles, and we would gather around all the different types of food, and whenever we saw the centerpiece of the table, it was the coconut cake.
Wow.
So that's the memory when if I ask any of my cousins or aunts or uncles if they saw a coconut cake, what would that trigger? And it would be that special celebration of gatherings. It's sharing stories.
I love that.
All the different family things. It was always happy stories. Nothing that was like political or anything like that. It was just fun times. Fun times.
I think that there are so many people who can identify with that. Even with you talking about that, there are a couple of different things that I think about. My grandmother, on my mother's side, she made the biggest cakes. And so all of her grandchildren, for my graduation from college, I was like, you don't have to give me anything. Just make your big chocolate cake and make your big pound cake.
Yes.
And my sister, she has something different. She has, my grandmother did a red velvet cake.
Yes.
And so, everybody has their favorite thing.
Yes.
So I just think about the fact that I associate my grandmother with these big cakes.
Yes.
And so like you, when you think about your family gatherings, you think about that coconut cake, right?
And when you think about like your velvet cake of your grandmother, do you think about happy times? Does it bring back a smile?
It does.
Yes.
It does. Because my grandmother, to me, she didn't say much, but she would sit back at family gatherings and she'd just look around her family. She'd look around and see her family, and she would have a smile on her face.
Right, and it was a snapshot of your childhood and your gatherings, and that's what, if I could bring that back to each family that's out there and recreate those memories, and to pass along more recipes so folks can take it and recreate their own family stories. That's what I want them to bring, is that storytelling time and having those memories captured in their family.
Very good.